turn the lights on. Good morning everybody. My name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like my videos, please press that like button and please do subscribe. It is Saturday morning. Today is just a relaxing day, hopefully for me, where I can just tackle my washing up, clean the flat and just get on with things really. I'm still learning Polish. I'm going through a bout of, I don't know what it is, I think it's one thing on top of another. So I sprained my neck and I sprained the bottom, right, the top of my neck and the back bit and the shoulder, and then I feel like I've got the flu as well because I keep coughing, so double whammies probably. So I'm just waiting for this to disappear, because when you don't feel well you feel like in the mood shitty, so I'm trying to just get over that. So it's a Saturday morning here in Rochester, Kent. I'm by myself as usual. It looks like the sun's trying to break out, but it's a lot cooler. So good morning, Alexa. Good morning.
Good morning. On this day in 1985, the Golden Girls debuted on US television. These supposed pensioners weren't even that old. The youngest was only 51 when the show started.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
Good morning, Crystal. It's 8:15 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today? Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Saturday the 14th of September.
Alexa, what is the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, it's 7 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast has intermittent clouds, with a high of 19 degrees and a low of 7 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
Why should you never play poker with the world's fastest animal? Because he's a cheater.
Alexa, whose birthday is it today? Alexa, whose birthday is it today?
Today's famous birthdays include United States District Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, New Zealand actor, writer, producer and director Sam Neill, American actor, director, screenwriter, playwright, producer, author, and songwriter Tyler Perry, American rapper, record executive, entrepreneur and investor from New York Nas, and 46th and current governor of Florida Ron DeSantis.
Alexa, how old is Nas? Alexa, how old is Nas?
Nas is 51 years old.
Nas is 51. This is all going back, for me, this is all going back to 2002. You know, the likes of Eminem, Ludacris, and all these kind of stars and rappers, etc. For me, it's going back to 2002. Because I used to follow Eminem. I used to be a great fan of Eminem. And Eminem's got a lot older, we've all got older, and we've all moved on with our lives, really. Things have moved on. So last night I took Max out for a walk. I was feeling a bit crap. But I came back home and I tried to make myself feel okay, because, you know, when you're feeling down and you're feeling not well, things can feel a downside a lot worse and things can get on your nerves. So it's best to like try and get yourself out of it. So I sat down on my sofa, I got my crisps, I got my cup of coffee, and I practiced a bit of Polish because I'm learning colours. White, pink, red, green. So So I'm learning my colours at the moment, and clothing like shoes and overcoat. Well, they call coats overcoats. So I'm learning clothing. So we're doing that. And then I flick through Netflix, and you try and keep sane when you're on your own, because when your mind thinks, doesn't it, it goes round in circles. So you just try and keep yourself sane and occupied, really, and happy if you can, which can be quite impossible. If you're, if there's certain things going on, it can make you feel worse. So, flipped out the old tablet. Flipped out my old tablet. I am not talking to anybody anymore. Someone tried to get me to go over to WhatsApp yesterday. No, that's not happening. Do you want some fun on WhatsApp? That's not fun for me. That's not fun, is it? Never meeting them, hiding behind a WhatsApp application. No, I've had enough of that. That isn't even giving me... I don't know who they are. They're not saying who they are. They're not showing me their real self. So no, I'm done with that. I'm getting on. I'd rather sit for an hour and learn a language than sit for an hour being exploited and taking the piss out of. That's me. So I'm just going to show you what I watched. Just tell you about what I watched on Netflix last night. So, Crystal. Well, I watched a film called Simon. It's about a serial killer. It was 2016. A film called Simon. It's quite horrific. So I watched that. And then I watched The Occupant for a little bit, a film called The Occupant. I watched that for a little bit. So I watched that. And so that was my Saturday evening, watching a couple of Netflix films. Sometimes on Talking Pictures channel they put horror films on at the weekend, but they're really quite late, and I wasn't feeling really on top of the world last night, so I just tried to get some sleep. In the end, I tried just cuddled up in my fleece blanket because it's got colder now, with my little dog by my side who curls up to me, and that's cool. So today it's having breakfast. I'm not going out to the co-op. Got some nice flowers yesterday. They actually dry out quite quickly in this flat, even when it's cold. They just dry out because the central heating, that dries out the room. So I love flowers. I think they're lovely. My begonias on the balcony have lasted quite well, but most of the other plants are like you know, what happens when winter comes. The plants go all brown, the leaves fall off, and everyone's shoveling up brown and orange leaves, and it gets darker and darker early. And you know, for some people that suffer from depression and sadness, the early darkness brings it on even more. And it's obviously, if you're on your own, of course it does. And of course, if you're like myself and you have to walk everywhere by yourself, you've got to be extra vigilant in the dark. Some people can hide in the dark and you can't see their faces or anything, so you've got to be extra vigilant. So for now, I'm walking on the field for now, but when it gets really, really, really dark, we'll have to probably walk somewhere else under the street lamps. I'm just a quiet, reserved person. I don't like confrontations. I don't like crowds of people. I don't really even like walking past people. I have a social anxiety. I go into the co-op and it looks like I'm okay, but I have a social anxiety because the trauma that I've been through. So I have a social anxiety amongst people, and I just prefer to go into a shop, get my shopping, and get out of there. You know, that's me. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Sell the property, and then again with this government, they said they're going to ban it, but it's still not going to happen until next year. Anyway, I personally think that it's a ridiculous idea. There's not enough housing for single parents with little babies. Surely they're more vulnerable than a person coming out of prison.
I thought so.
This would also increase. I know people that actually say, do you know what? If things keep going the way they are, I'm going to just commit a crime just to go in prison, just to get away from the stress. So imagine what they're going to do if they know they can get a house at the end of it. Because one of our major stresses in London is housing.
Yes.
One of the major problems in London that people get so stressed out about is housing. So it's a ridiculous idea, and it's just designed to just distract us anyway, in my opinion, buddy.
Well, I just don't know about the last one, because that sort of is you have to take a sort of political view on what you make of the politicians. There is a conversation going on, which we probably should have had 20, 25 years ago about how to address a prisons crisis, and no one's been prepared to deal with it. I don't suppose Keir Starmer would have chosen to deal with it. He doesn't have any choice. There's no prison spaces left. So the matter is clear and present. And I guess as I keep saying, we do have to think outside the box. But thus far, almost halfway through the hour, no love at all. Maybe there's some ex-cons listening. I mean, who wouldn't want their own home? It seems daft to ask, phone in and say, if you'd like your own home, everybody's going to want to do that. But is there an argument that prioritising prisoners, despite the housing crisis, would be of benefit to society? I'm with Matthew Linford. I don't believe it. Thank you for the call, Matthew. Now, as I mentioned just before the news headlines, Keir Starmer and the Labour Party have suffered something of a fall in popularity, although, to be fair, it was said long before their landslide election victory on July the 4th that because of the hard choices that were certain to follow, their popularity was certain to sink. How far has it sunk? Well, Gideon Skinner is head of research, political research, I should say, at Ipsos, the polling company in Jones now. Good morning to you, Gideon.
Good morning, Matthew.
It's not so bad for Keir Starmer, to be fair. I mean, it's bad, but not so bad. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what we're seeing is a fairly kind of lukewarm honeymoon that hasn't lasted very long. There are positives for him. I mean, his ratings amongst Labour supporters, his own party voters, they haven't changed. They still remain pretty good. The change is really amongst supporters of other parties where their attitudes towards him are getting worse. And the Labour Party and Keir Starmer still remain a lot more popular than the Conservatives. But there's definitely worrying signs there, you know, that it is a fall. It is the highest number of negative ratings that people have given Labour and Keir Starmer for a couple of years now. And I think also what we're seeing is a creep up in the proportion of people who think that the country is heading in the wrong direction. Again, it's not quite as bad as it was under the Conservatives. Expectations are still higher that things will improve under Labour. But, you know, there's a bit of a return to a bit of negativity, a bit of public pessimism about the state of the country.
And Rachel Reeves seems to have fared worse than Starmer.
Yes, she's seen a drop as well. I mean, to be honest, about the same amount as Starmer and the Labour Party have seen. She's, you know, much less well known, of course. You'd expect that of most politicians. But yeah, she's seen a similar drop as well. So we sort of see it across the board. Again, you know, Labour broadly still seen as more trusted on the economy than the Conservatives. People tend to be more likely to blame the Conservatives for the economic problems that we're in than they blame Labour. But there are worries for Labour. I mean, people again are they're worried about the economy, they're worried about cost of living, and what we have seen is a big increase in the proportion of people who think their taxes are going to go up under Labour.
I can understand that as well. Would you be of the mindset, having looked at these polls over the years, is this simply Starmer being up from dealing with the worst jobs first in the hope that by the time 5 years comes down the line and we near the next election, it'll all be, you know, sunshine, green uplands and good times to get us into elections? So we're doing all the difficult, tough choices now in the hope that it will be better in 5 years' time. Well, I have to say I have my doubts.
I mean, I'm sure that's what Labour and Keir Starmer are hoping for. You know, I mean, it's clear that people were really concerned about public services and the economy, and there was an overriding sense of we want change before the election, and you know, people know that that's going to take a certain amount of time to fix. They do have expectations that Labour will do a better job on it. It's just whether Labour can meet those expectations that is going to be the really crucial bit, and how they get that balance right between sort of taking people along with them, you know, telling people that it is going to take a bit of time, but at the same time, you still want to show some tangible improvements, but people are so unhappy about the way the country is going at the moment.
Yes, I'm a great believer in sugaring the pill, and there seems to be a complete absence of sugar in government policy today. Lovely talking to you, Gideon. Thanks for all the work you do on the polling there. Gideon Skinner, Head of Political Research at Ipsos. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating, the ebb and flow of politics. We're going to move on and talk about universities next. Leading universities being urged to take no more than 10% of private school pupils to boost social mobility. That'll be a bit of a shock to my old university, Exeter. I think it's currently 65% private school, where only 6.8% of the nation's kids go to private school. Riddle me that. You're listening to Matthew Rudge on LBC. Time for the latest news headlines from Jenny Barsby.
The Prime Minister described his talks with Joe Biden as long and productive, but wouldn't confirm if they'll allow Ukraine to fire UK and US missiles into Russia. The pair will hold more discussions at the UN General Assembly next week. It's estimated around 780,000 pensioners won't apply for their £300 fuel payment this winter, even though they're still eligible to receive it. It's being means tested this year as part of government plans to save money. And the Ormiston Academies Trust, which runs 42 schools, has decided to bring in a ban on smartphones. It says it's made the decision because of a perceived link between the devices and poor mental health in children. It's a fine and dry day for most of us, though it will be cloudier with some rain in the northwest, feeling slightly warmer with a high of 19 degrees.
This is LBC.